All right, let's have a go at this. We are looking at a clip, audio clip here, stereo audio clip, and currently we're looking at some clip gain with some breakpoints. We want to shift over to volume view though. We're going to work there first, so we can do that by hitting the minus key, assuming we're in keyboard focus. And what we see here are some breakpoints in the middle that we're going to trim a bit. And we also notice to the outside of them, there are a couple of other breakpoints that are going to help us also. So let's first make a selection of the breakpoints that we want to trim. Now, the first thing we're going to go to is the standard trimmer, and we're going to trim down first and then up a little bit. And notice that we are creating breakpoints at the selection boundaries. Okay, that may certainly be what we want to do. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes we don't want those breakpoints created at those boundaries, so we can hold down the Option key. And by holding it down, it does a ramp to the nearest breakpoints outside of the selection, and that's what we've done there. Okay, so be aware of trimming using the Option key as a modifier. Now, we can also add the Command key to either of those methods, and what the Command key does is fine-tune the trimming. In other words, gives you 1/10 of a dB control. Here's that same method using the Option key as well as the Command key. Fine control over the trimming. Okay, that's a valuable thing to have. All right, now we're going to switch back over to waveform view, and we toggle over there by hitting the minus key once again. There we go, and once again we see the breakpoints. Our selection is still sitting there. So let's get our trimmer up, and first we're going to hold down the Option key and make that same kind of action, same trimming there, and notice it does pretty much what it does in the volume automation view. It is going to outside breakpoints and doing a ramp to the actual breakpoints that I'm trimming. However, when we go to trim without any modifiers down, just a straight trim, watch what happens. 2 breakpoints get created right at the selection edges, and this time it's doing a straight vertical line up and down with my trimming. That's a little bit different. If you want to trim in this fashion, I recommend you make a selection built on your audio phrase there. Notice I'm going sort of from transient to a transient there. And then when I do my trimming, it does the same thing, but those vertical adjustments I'm creating won't be quite so noticeable. So that might be a way to go about that. Now let's move on to deleting breakpoints. Once again, make a selection, and let's get rid of these. A couple ways to do that. We can use there's the selection. Now we're going to first cut those using the X key. And there's our cut. And notice what happened. The breakpoints are gone, but it did create breakpoints at the selection edits when I did the cut. Now, if we don't want those created, we use the delete key instead. That's what happened there. All right, let's go back to clip view. There's our clip gain view, and we do the same thing. We're going to get rid of those breakpoints with the delete key. Oh, that's not going to work. I mean, it definitely got rid of the breakpoints, but the audio went with it. You might remember that when we do editing on clip gain, we can use the Control-Shift modifiers. That's what we just did there, using either cut or delete. It doesn't affect the audio, it just affects the breakpoints. So once again, that's Shift and Control down and do either your delete or your cut, or you can even be copying, and it won't affect the underlying audio.